West Coast, we kind of know a couple of things or two about the Republican Party. We really do. Now, Denver, you might remember, I most certainly do, but you might remember when the entire Republican Party said the sky was going to fall, the ground was going to billow open, and lava was going to come out. When you decided you wanted to legalize marijuana, they said everybody in Denver was just going to go crazy. Well, that was back in 2012, 2013. And this is 2022. And like a lot of conservative Republican predictions, shockingly, it didn't come to fruition. No one in Denver is going around shooting and killing each other. People in Denver are still happy and enjoying their life. And you know, this is the kind of scare tactics they do when they don't want to move forward, Denver, when they want to move backwards. See, now if you had to listen to them out in Denver, you wouldn't be having marijuana. You wouldn't have a $15 minimum wage, which they also said the sky was going to implode in. Remember, they said if you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, it'll destroy every business throughout the entire state. Well, Denver is booming. Business is everywhere. See, this is my main message. This is what I really want to get across. Don't listen to conservative nonsense. It usually turns out to be complete and utter nonsense. Now, have they come and apologized to the residents of Denver for being so grossly inaccurate? For being way off the mark? You know how sometimes you're putting a golf ball and it just barely misses the hole. And then you have to hit it again for a par. Well, the golf ball is way away from the hole with what they said was going to happen in Denver and what actually materialized in Denver. So they won't come out and say that they were wrong, which I have a problem with, Denver. I have a real problem with that. Because they were so wrong. And if we had to listen to them, which thank goodness we never do, but if we had to listen to the Republicans and conservatives, you know what would have happened? A lot more people would be addicted to fentanyl and opioids. You know, one of the reasons we have lower addiction rates in the Pacific Northwest, the West Coast. I'm not saying we don't have an issue. I'm saying it's lower than the East Coast. It's lower than the Midwest, and it's lower than the South. They never tell you about the statistics. I know the statistics. Our fentanyl rates on the West Coast are lower than anywhere else in the nation. And one of the reasons we have lower rates is because we legalize marijuana. Huge reason. And now the nation is starting to catch on. But we were ahead of the curve, Denver. Now, we could have listened to the naysayers, the doom and gloomers, who all happen to be conservative. We could have listened to those bastards. But we chose a different way. Now, Denver. They're trying to bamboozle the nation now. And it's on us to tell the rest of the nation that once again, the conservative movement in this country is wrong, and we're going to do things differently. Make sure you're getting out and you're voting in Denver. You know, the Republicans have this Senate candidate who appears to be a moderate, John O'Day, right? Here's my problem. Even if John is a moderate, which I think he is, if he wins, which I hope he doesn't, he would give the Republicans the majority in the Senate. Let me tell you why that would be bad for Denver, bad for Colorado, and bad for the nation. He's a vote for Mitch McConnell. Also, judges like Ketanji Brown Jackson, they wouldn't get confirmed. We saw what the Republican Party did to her. Here goes a brilliant, highly qualified black woman, the first in our nation's history to potentially sit on the Supreme Court. And they made this woman out to sound like she was a defender of pedophiles. Did you watch the hearings, the judiciary hearings? Josh Hawley said she was siding with pedophiles. Yeah, I remember what you said, Josh. That was disgusting. They knew this woman was following the sentencing guidelines. But yet they tried to make her out to be some kind of nefarious, lenient judge towards pedophiles and murderers. This is what the Republican Party does. They have nothing of substance to run on. I'm just telling you, they have nothing of substance to run on. I'm still waiting for their inflation plan to reduce it. You ask what it is, and they don't tell you. When there are things that could be done to reduce inflation, you know, like capping insulin at $35 a month, the Republican Party decides that's not a good thing to do and votes against it. Paid family leave, they decide, oh no, women don't need to afford child care costs, and vote against it. But they have a magical plan. We don't know what it is. Denver. Make sure you're taking care of business. Make sure you're voting. Check your voter registration. These are important things to do. Because you don't want to necessarily find out on election day you didn't receive a mail-in ballot. And you're scratching your head going, why didn't I receive a ballot? So go on to the Secretary of State's site and make sure you're still registered. It's happening in Georgia. Georgians are like showing up at the voting location and they're being told, oh no, you're not registered. They're like, what do you mean? So make sure that that doesn't occur to you. You have some competitive races. In the 7th district, Brittany Peterson is running to be your representative. Some dude by the name of Eric Aldrin is running against her as a Republican. And his whole campaign is situated on the issue of fentanyl. He's trying to say Brittany is weak on fentanyl, when she has a family member, a close, loved family member, her mother, who suffered from addiction to fentanyl. Maybe he hasn't looked at her record. We're going to go out to Lakewood, and real quick. Get out the vote rally. Maybe he hasn't looked at her record though, Denver. I have. She's been very tough on the issue of fentanyl. And it's not like Eric and the Republican Party have any solutions to it. Because like I said earlier, the situation would be far worse if we had to listen to them. It would be far worse. We're actually doing really well in comparison to the rest of the nation in terms of handling the opioid crisis. And yes, it is a crisis. A crisis that the Republican Party could have seen a long time ago. A crisis that they could have taken action about in their states. Yet they continue to arrest people for possessing marijuana, like in Georgia. You saw the Libertarian candidate there in Georgia say to the current governor, why are you arresting people for having possession of marijuana? Why is that a priority of the state? And then the Republican governor said, look, I have no problem with marijuana. Then why isn't it legalized in Georgia then, Governor Kemp? See, we in Colorado and in Denver, we took care of our business way before the rest of the nation caught up. So my message, Denver, is don't slide backwards. Continue moving forward. Don't listen to the Republicans, because if we had to listen to them a decade ago, we wouldn't be in the shape that we're in now. They've never apologized for being wrong. They've never apologized for being inaccurate and grossly off. They've never apologized. They've never said, oh, $15 minimum wage didn't ruin the country. They've never said marijuana didn't cause rapid destruction of properties. But these were all claims that they were making a decade ago for us not to move forward. Now that things have been successful, now they want to come and say, oh, well, you know, things could be better. Things could always be better, Denver. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We do have a problem. But if we had to listen to them, things would be far worse. We'd be in the same boat as Georgia, where 6 hospitals have closed up under Governor Kemp. We don't have hospitals closing up. They were wrong then and they're wrong now. Let's get out there and vote. If you got a mail-in ballot, turn it in. And don't vote to have Republicans control the Senate. Look, I think John O'Day is a good guy. I really do. But Michael Bennet has been a great senator. So why should we swap out one great legislator for potentially a moderately decent legislator? Doesn't make sense to me, Denver. Doesn't make sense. And we know that John is going to help out the Republicans. He's going to give them the majority. And we don't want to have a Republican majority in the Senate. It's not just about judges. It's about them and what they want to do. If they have control, it's going to be Rand Paul running the show. Investigations of Dr. Fauci, Hunter Biden, impeachment of the president every day of the week. None of that is going to solve inflation. None of it. They have no idea how to solve this problem. In fact, their former president, the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago, is in large part responsible for why we have the problems that we have now. I know they're running around saying Joe Biden, everything out of their mouth is Joe Biden. But President Biden has only been in office for 2 years. Do you know the mess they caused in 4? It might take 16 years to clean up the mess they caused in 4. Who decided they wanted to start trade wars with countries? Was that our current president or the former lunatic? You know, they talk about the supply chain being messed up. Yeah, Donald Trump messed it up. Let's be clear about that, Denver. He messed it up. He told the French government, if you want to import your wine, we're going to charge you more in tariffs. The French went, what do you mean? We're going to take more money from you. So the French said, okay, if you want to import your cars, we're going to charge you more to import your cars. That's what happens in trade wars. It's tit for tat. No president had ever done trade wars because they had all been warned by their advisors not to do such a dumb thing. The lunatic from Mar-a-Lago was told don't do it by most, if not all, economists. He decided he knew more than the economists. You remember, he knows more than the economists, more than the generals, more than the national intelligence community. He knows more than everyone, right? So he decided to do trade wars with many nations. And now this Republican Party is telling you about supply chains issues. Yeah, your former president caused it. And we're not stupid enough, and you're not going to gaslight us to believe that it would happen 2 years ago. No, it happened 6 years ago. And we're now paying the price. So Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell, we know what occurred. We're not stupid. See, that's the thing. The Republican Party wants to gaslight the American people. They want to try to bamboozle us. We're not stupid. We know what took place. You couldn't contain that lunatic. He decided to do some lunacy while he was president. It backfired. And now all of us as citizens are paying the price. Denver. Don't let them do any more damage. Don't let them do any more damage to this country. They've already done enough. When they were running the show, they said that they were going to have a health care plan. Do you remember this? He kept saying, I have a better plan than President Obama. My plan is going to be better than the Affordable Care Act. We just have to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. I have a better plan. And they tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act multiple times when they were in the majority. I just want Coloradans to remember this. They tried every day of the week to vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act. For the first 2 years of the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago administration, he was obsessed with it. He kept saying, I'm going to repeal Obamacare. I'm going to repeal Obamacare. I have a better plan. Now, thank goodness the late Senator John McCain voted against it, which saved America from a nightmare healthcare situation. Because what would have happened is they would have gotten rid of Obamacare and we wouldn't have had any healthcare in this country. Because just like Mexico was going to pay for the wall, which they didn't, he didn't have a health care plan, which he didn't. We would have been up a creek without a paddle. You think the pandemic was bad, and it was. We could have potentially lost 10 times the amount of citizens that we lost. And he mismanaged that too. Ooh. The truth is, the Republican Party doesn't know what they're doing. They don't have any legislative agenda. All they want to do is appeal to grievances of a few. They don't want to legislate for the many. They want to satisfy grievances of the few. And what are those grievances, Denver? Let me tell you what they are. They don't want gay people to be able to marry. It's destroying the sanctity of marriage. You heard that bullshit, right? They don't want women to have a right to do what they want to do with their bodies. They don't want black people to participate in the democracy. All people who come here do immigration. Well, we're just going to stop that too. We don't want any more immigration. This is America first. I say that's not going to make America first. It's America yesterday. Denver, it's forever forward, never backwards. They want to go backwards, real far, back into the Stone Age. You decided you wanted to move forward a decade ago, and you did. And the results bear out. You were right. They were wrong. They haven't come out and apologized to Denver yet. Now the rest of the country is moving forward. They're saying, oh, we should take marijuana off of the Schedule 1 classification. We should legalize it for the nation. I couldn't believe my own ears. The Republican governor from Georgia pretty much at the debate said that he has no problem with people smoking a joint. But that wasn't their position a decade ago. Their position a decade ago was that if you smoked marijuana, you were going to become the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, and destroy everything in America. Now that they see that a progressive policy worked, now they want to try to act like, oh, well, all along we never had any problems with it. You go back and you run the tape. You rewind the tape, Denver, and listen to all the things that Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Rush Limbaugh, Mike Levine. You listen to all the things they said about what you were planning to do in Denver. Rewind the tape and run it. Because I remember what they said. And now the Republican governor of Georgia, who can't keep teachers in his state, can't keep hospitals open, now they want to talk about a problem that we have, that we're at least attempting to try to fix. What's their solution to the unhoused situation in Colorado? Anytime we say we want to be a more affordable housing, they oppose that. We want to do something to subsidize rent, do rent control. They oppose that. They don't have any solutions to anything. They have a grievance. A handful of citizens in this country have a real problem with other people in this country. And they want to make sure that they legislate for the grievance, the people who have a grievance, and ignore all the rest of us who really want to get shit done, who want to fix real problems, structural problems in our system. They want to ignore us, and they want to fight about rolling back voting rights for black people. They want to fight about rolling back rights for women and gay people. They want to legislate for a grievance view. Remember that, Denver. because it's super important. Take care of business. I know you will. We love you in Denver. You didn't listen to the Republican Party, thank goodness. The sky didn't fall in like they said it would. Now please don't listen to them now. You were right then to not listen to them, and you'll be right now to not listen to them. Get out there and participate, Denver. Take care of business.